Coach, we appreciate the time. This is your first go-round as a head coach at a high school level. You've been defensive coordinator under former coach Andre Thomas. So take us through, preparations when you're a defensive coordinator and now that it's your show to run. How big of a difference are we talking here?
Well, I'm still calling the defense. That's what I love. I love the defensive side of the ball. The games that go on within each play and where you try to put kids. None of that stuff changes. Football is football. I don't really care what level you're at. It's the same kind of schemes that you're trying to run and do things effectively, and it really comes down to the team that executes the best. So as far as that's concerned, it doesn't change much. It is all of the extra things, and I'm sure anybody else that you talk to that's a head coach would tell you, it isn't the football that's the daunting part. It's the interactions with everybody else, the pull of things like media interviews and things that happen a lot, and it's just adding all of those things into what used to be your regular routine. It's one thing just to get the defense ready to play. It's another thing to make sure that you have the defense ready and that the offensive coaches are on top of their stuff and that their stuff's ready. And then you add in all of the extra things that go along with the running the program, and it's a lot. I could be honest with you, it's a whole lot of stuff.
Well, coming into this first head coaching job, you're only 31 years old. We were talking before the interview started, just turned 31 in June, and you've already got about 13 years of coaching experience in some capacity under your belt. But this is the first head coaching job. Do you feel that at that young of an age that you can kind of relate to these high school kids maybe a little better than an older coach, or does it make any difference?
Well, I don't necessarily know that age has that much to do with it. I mean, I feel like I try to stay with the times as far as I want to make myself seem like I'm older than I am, but I'm on social media and I follow those kinds of things, and I'm pretty quick back with some remarks when kids will talk about something they don't think I'm going to understand, and I can hit them back with something and catch them off guard and let them know that I am around and paying attention. I'm not that much older than they are. But as far as relating to kids, I think on an individual level, you either can do that or you have a hard time doing that. And knock on wood, to this point in my career, I feel like I've learned a lot, and I've had a pretty good ability of being able to relate to them on an individual level. And really, and I heard a great quote from a coach from the EVSC guy that's in administration now, but he told me, he said that no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And so I try to live each day and to take each practice with that philosophy and give everything I have and just kind of see how it goes.
You mentioned social media, and obviously you're aware of it. You use it yourself. The guys on the team are using it. Is that something, as a head coach, is that something you address with the team? Like, hey, guys, let's remember that there are people keeping an eye on us, those kind of things. Do you feel like you have to kind of monitor that, or do you not? Do you just kind of wait and see and hope that nobody does anything stupid?
Well, if you take the wait and see approach, I think you're making a big mistake because it's out there, they're using it, and they need to know that we can see what's going on. And I tell them, and it's not just with social media, it's how you act in public. And we've talked a lot about what perception is and what we want the brand of Bosse football to be as a program. And so I've talked to them about it. I mean, we've addressed it. They understand that I'm watching, I'm following, and everybody else is watching too. And so they have to police that, patrol it. And we don't need to get into Twitter battles with other teams, and we don't need to add to any kind of bulletin board material to their locker room. We just need to concentrate on playing football and playing it the way that we want to play Bosse football, and the rest of it will take care of itself.
One of the issues at Bosse, and not just Bosse, Harrison has the same battles. You guys are kind of known as basketball schools, and it's tough to get these kids to come out and play football sometimes. You got a little bit of a late start. You weren't announced as a head coach until June 1st. You had made a comment in the Courier and Press on basically recruiting the hallways. That's what coaches do. You get in the hallways and you talk to these kids and try to figure out maybe why they're not wanting to play football, or maybe they want to, but they don't know how to go about it, that kind of stuff. How has it went with the season just a couple of days away? how's things gone on turnout this season and depth on the roster?
Well, our roster's got over 50 guys on it, and that's in 4 grades. It is not where I would like it to be just yet, but we've had some response from kids in the building. We've had some more kids come out once the school year has started. At this point, we're pretty well full up. We've got the guys that we need to have to take ourselves into the season, and so the one advantage I had coming back to Bosse is that there were not very many kids who didn't know who I was. I spent some time in some of the feeder schools working with the kids before while I was here, and I have a good relationship with Coach Burkhart. And so being able to reach the kids and get them get in their ear and let them know that, listen, we got to do this together. It takes all of us, not just a couple of us, to get it done. The reception has been pretty good, and I suppose that goes into how well I was liked when I was here before. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think I've had a relationship with enough kids that it's been an easier process than I think it would be for somebody who was coming in fresh and had no relationship with any of the students in the building.
New Bosse Bulldogs head coach Eric Schnur joining us on the Menard Studio Hotline. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 online, ESPNradio.com. Let's talk about the team you do have there, Coach, and what we can expect on the field. Talk a little bit about the offense. Who's your starting QB? Who you got at running back? What are the names we're going to hear this season?
Well, as of today, our starting quarterback's name is Elijah Burns. He's a senior with very, very limited quarterbacking experience, but he's a kid that has really bought into what it is that we're trying to do. He's working hard. He stays after practice with a group of guys every day trying to iron some wrinkles out. Carlos Wells is another kid. He's a sophomore who's backing him up. Is going to probably play some quarterback for us. In the backfield, it's going to be one of our senior captains that gets a bulk of the carries. His name's Raymond Garnett. He's somebody that is a really, really, really hard runner and just a hard football player, hard-nosed player in general. And so those guys are going to get the bulk of the looks. We've got a couple good receivers in Alik Barnett, Jalen Whitlock, and then Zykeith Davis is another sophomore who is going to hopefully give us some carries. And he's another kid that he's not a real big kid, but he's built real well, and he's physical. He's pretty fast and runs the ball really hard.
Well, let's talk your side of the ball, Coach. You're my kind of guy. I like defense. I don't like getting hit. I like hitting people. But it's you've got a couple of names coming back that you can build off of. Dante Jones is one of them, coming back for his senior season. He gets in the backfield on a regular basis, and that's not a bad thing to have. Jordan Fox-Suggs, another one that's coming into his senior season. Some other names about this on this defense, and from what I can see, does it kind of evolve around Dante Jones, or am I missing that?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The schemes that we're going to use, those guys that play up front for us, those guys are going to be their gap fillers, and they understand their role. The front six that we have are predominantly going to work at filling gaps and then running to the ball from there. I don't necessarily think that we would say our defense revolves around one person. Defensively, my biggest thing is that you've got to be disciplined and sound in your approach. You know, I'm always counting numbers and making sure that we have enough guys or more guys than the offense has on a particular side of the ball. We have probably maybe the best returning defender in the city, Raymond Garnett, who's playing tailback for us, is also going to play safety, and he led the city in tackles, if I was reading the stats right, last year. So, you know, we have some kids that really play hard, 3 or 4 guys that just understand how to get to the football. They fly around, and that's ultimately, for me, that's what I'm looking for, is a long list of guys that I can coach them up and I can get them into a gap, but ultimately they're going to, when the ball is snapped, they're going to run to a spot until they've made a play.
That's Bosse's new head coach, Bosse Bulldogs' new head coach, Eric Schnur, joining us on the Menard Studio Hotline. Coach, best of luck as you get ready to open the season this weekend and throughout the season, and we'll be able to talk again soon.
Thank you very much.